Welcome to lesson 122. Today we're going to be doing two problems, 1-52 and 1-53. Okay, so two problems for today, a couple things that you can do at home. But the main thing that we are talking about are strategies for solving proportional relationships. Okay, proportional relationships, one of the things that we talked about in the last two lessons, the first item is, does it start at 0, 0? Whether it's a table or a graph, does it start at 0, 0? I notice it does over here. The second thing is, does it follow a pattern? Okay, those are the two things that we need to focus on. Now, 1-52. Kenny can make 7 origami folded paper cranes in 10 minutes. He read a story about a girl who made 1,505 cranes, so he was curious how long it would take him to make that many without stopping. Complete Kenny's table below, then explain how you did so. How many minutes would it take Kenny to fold 1,505 cranes? Now, there are multiple ways to solve this. Okay, one of the ways that we've been talking about is finding a unit rate and using that unit rate to find things out. If you want to solve it that way, feel free to do so. If you have a different way, feel free to do so. Today we are going to put some very concrete methods in how to do this. All I need in your table is this number. How many minutes would it take? And then it says how many hours. Don't do how many hours, just tell me how many minutes. Okay? Pause the video, figure that out. Okay, now if you didn't know how and you just let this play through, obviously you're going to find out that one of the ways is to skip count. You could do 0, 7, 14, 21, 28, and you could skip count all the way to 1,505 because you could say 10, 20, 30, 40, and you could skip count all the way there, right? That's one way. Or you could think, what do I need to multiply this number by to get this number? That's another method of solving it. Or you could think, what do you need to do to 7 to get to this number? Well, if you do that to that number, you could use it to get to this number. Those are 3 different strategies that you could use to solve this. Okay? If you'd like to solve it now, feel free to solve it now. Okay. Today we're talking about 3 concrete strategies for solving proportions. Okay? The first method. Now, you guys have 2 boxes. This first box is going to, we have one page that looks like this, where this is going to be guided practice. And then you also have boxes below for 153 where you have 3 independent practice problems. So let's go ahead and start with the 3 concrete methods for solving proportional relationships. The first thing is called the big giant 1. Okay? The big giant 1 is using this multiplication strategy of, and usually it happens with smaller numbers, and you'll see in our examples in a minute, but the giant 1 is, what do I need to multiply 7 by to get to 1505? Now, I've solved this problem multiple times, and so I know that to do this math, I need to multiply by 210. Maybe that number looks familiar from your previous problem. Okay? So if I multiply the bottom by 210, Then I multiply the top by 210. And that is going to give me my x value of 2,100. Now, this should be the same answer that you had in the previous problem. My apologies. I just noticed I did my math wrong. So it's not 210. Did you catch that? That it's supposed to be 215? My bad. 215. Much better. Okay, so x is 2,150. Okay? Now, you probably see this more often in a problem like this. 2 over 6 equals x over 36. Because these numbers happen inside of your multiplication understanding. And you think, 6 times what equals 36? Oh, I know that 6 times 6. So big giant 1 is 6 times 6 is 36. So 2 times 6 is 12. This is the type of big giant 1 math that you normally see. Okay? Undoing division method. The undoing division method is really good when you have an x on top and you think, okay, I've got this 1505 on top. How do I undo that division? Well, you think the opposite of division is multiplication. When you multiply this side by 1505, this creates the big giant 1. Divide, 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 and that's gone. But what you do to one side, you have to do to this side. 1505. Okay? And once we do this math, we can go ahead and say that's 15050 divided by 7 equals 2,150. Right? This is the type of math that, notice, all these numbers keep reoccurring because it's the same problem in a different way. If I were to do a problem, and if I'm going too fast, feel free to pause your video. Another type of problem that we could do is, let's say 3 over 10 equals x over 4, right? Now, I don't see a pattern, so I can't do the big giant 1. So let's undo division. How do I undo that divide by 4? Well, I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 4. So when I multiply by 4, there's my big giant 1. Multiply this side by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Over 10 is 6 over 5 is 1 and 1/5. All of this is getting copied down in your notebook. These are just examples of how to undo multiplication and division. All right, fraction buster method. Fraction buster method has to do with multiplying by the denominators. So I'm going to make this multiply to the opposite side. Some of you know this as cross multiplication. That is one type of fraction buster method. So 10 times 1505 is 15,050. 7 times x is 7x. Now I have a one-step equation where I have to solve. How do I solve this? Well, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this multiplication by division. Get rid of it by division. And I am left with 2,150. Notice, all the same answer, same deal. Question, Mr. McCoy, when you're doing this problem, why did you send the 7 to the top only to send it back to the bottom? That's an excellent point. In this problem, I would not have done the fraction buster method or cross products because it's not beneficial. You just move that 7 back and forth. This problem is really good if you have an x on the bottom. So let's create a problem. 6/8 equals 10 over x. Notice the x is on the bottom. You never want to have x on the bottom. It's just annoying to do. So if I were to solve this problem, cross products, And notice, when I do cross products, my fractions have been busted. Because that cross product of multiplying to the opposite side, which in reality is just 8 times this side, big giant 1. 8 times this side. X times this side, big giant 1, X on this side. It's just multiplying both sides by both denominators. It's just math. So let's go ahead and divide by 6. Divide by 6. 80 divided by 6. 80 divided by 6 equals 13.3 bar. Okay? You can always feel free to use a calculator, but your calculator is only as fast as you are. So, let's go ahead. Our last part of today is to go ahead. You have a separate box underneath for these 3 independent practice problems. You want to find the big giant 1. What are you going to multiply by to make this number equal to that number? Undoing division. How do you undo that? Fraction buster method. Cross products. Okay? I am not giving you the answers for these 3 problems in this video. We'll look at this when you get back to class. Thank you for tuning in to lesson 122, doing problems 52 and 53. Till next time.